This one will be about Rafelson and his friends, Chalmer Prentice, about 1900. Rafelson spent about 30 years doing his research. Bits and pieces, but good. Now, I study all eyes at birth as dynamic. If you're an electrical engineer, the eye is a low-pass filter. It filters the accommodation signal, so the eye's refractive state actually changes slowly to changes in accommodation. This is totally ignored in medicine because they do not understand low-pass filters or control systems. And truthfully, they can say that the public is abysmally ignorant and won't do anything anyway. They only want the quick fix minus, and they'll turn their brains off for all prevention, analytical. Only Rupa Wong has the right idea. She keeps her kid's nose off the page. 20 inches is good enough. Now, has anybody been effective? And here is a statement by Chalmer Prentice. Charles. And here's the issue. I talk to engineers who design control systems. Now, if there's going to be prevention, the man must be an engineer, and he must make actual refractive measurements, as I'm doing it. Manifest refraction. You don't have to do a medical person to do that. It's very direct. You just need the required test lenses to do it and fortitude to really do it. So, unfortunately, Chalmers is trying to talk to a person that does not understand anything and doesn't look at a Snellen, and this cannot work. But that's the good part. Age 43, myopia minus 1.25 minus 1. That is approximately 2060, 2070. Now, he would be close to passing the DMV requirements as it ultimately developed, but he's not making the measurements himself. So he's not intellectually part of scientific prevention. And unless you do that, nobody will have any success at all. So either the person, now I make my own refractive measurements for exactly that reason. I knew I have to make the measurements when I'm 2060. Either I believe in science and the behavior of all eyes such that I will do it myself, or nothing gets done. So it's good to understand that this man did not look at a Snellen. He was doing something he was told to do. I would never do something I was told to do unless I understood it. That means an eye as a dynamic system. So here's the problem. The guy had steady 20/70 vision or so. And so he recommended the removal of the concave lenses for distant vision. Well, if he's passing the DMV, that's reasonable. You can still function with DMV vision, 20/60. You can play tennis. And bright light, your vision will be quite good. Now, prescribe the 3.25. Okay, this does not really account for a lot of things. If you're going to read at 20 inches, you'd wear a plus 2.5. If you read at 10 inches, you'd use a plus 4. You could put two of them together to make that amount. And the patient days read, so forth. The patient was ordinary intelligence. Has to be even better than that. You have to be an engineer. And you have to know what you want in your life, because the limit of getting out of it is about 20/60. And here again, 6 months, I changed the glasses for reading for plus 4. There again, if he's reading at 10 inches, then a plus 4 makes sense. If he's reading at 20 inches, then a plus 2 makes sense. Unfortunately, this idea did not get through. So it makes no sense to wear a plus 4 if you don't need it. There's computer skill in judging using a plus 2 at 20 inches and I use a +5 at times at 10 inches. Very easy. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so after this man was wearing these glasses, he did an exam. And the left eye gave 20/20 vision, and the right eye nearly the same. So he recovered from about 20/70 or so. But he didn't make the measurements at home. Unless you make the measurements home, you are a waste of time. So this is what I'm doing, except I do it permanently. It makes statements about general health improved, not important. Similar results with 34 cases, but the person did not look at a Snellen. After World War I, the standard was 20/60 and 20/40. Now they give you a break, 20/50. That means you could do most things without glasses, but you'd better be totally committed to wearing a plus for near. And you've got to be in control. You've got to have the eye is a low pass filter for accommodation. And the amount of recovery, I would agree, is limited to about 20/60. Beyond that point, and you can't get out of it. And the key point here, the process is very tedious for the patient. The problem is you are a patient told to do something, and that never works. You've got to understand what you're doing. You've got to understand why you're doing it and the science behind it, because you won't do it. And there's no indication he's actually looking at Snellen. You personally must look at the Snellen, or you're wasting your time. Induce him to go to the trial. No, I don't induce a person to do anything. I explain the science and facts and explain why it's necessary to personally measure your refractive state using Snellen and test lenses. And do what is said. I do. Plus lens for reading at 20 inches at 10 inches. I do a lot of cell phone reading and to write this stuff up. So I'm wearing a plus permanently. Limited tests of more than 200 similar cases. Most important, what you will do prevent myopia in school. Okay. He fails to understand that the person must be an engineer to understand what he would be wise to do when he's down to 20/50 or 20/60. No one medical can do this for you. Even Kaisel Villicari couldn't do it. And they all make the mistake of failing to credit you with scientific intelligence. I call it engineering scientific intelligence, where you know what the facts are, you know the consequences, and you decide to take complete control or no control. This man was not in control. He was told to do something, and he did not understand it, so he didn't do it. But depends on who I'm talking to. And getting a person to understand means you get into it and measure yourself. You understand eyes as dynamic control systems, which they most certainly are. And that's where we are. Nothing has changed. I appreciate Rafelson's doing this for 30 years, but he had the same problem. And that's the ignorance of the public. Scientific engineering's ignorance. And nobody can do anything about it. However much myopia developed, nothing's going to be done about it unless the engineer understands the real behavior of the eye. And I start at birth. And if you can understand it that way, given a choice. Well, I say should go to electrical engineers who are 20/40. Give them a choice. Do it my way. And I've been doing it for 15 years. Do you think I would do this for 15 years if I didn't have to do it? My refraction state is positive because I make the measurements. If I don't make the measurements, it's worthless. Doesn't mean anything. And of course, I confirm 20/20. But actually, confirming 20/40 and better would be success for me. But I need to get my refraction to measure positive. So I deeply appreciate Rafelson and this Prentice. But the ignorance of the public, unless the man's an engineer designing control systems, he's not going to do what I'm doing. And that's a tragedy of it. And no one medical can do anything about it. It's beyond their capability. The problem is it must be in you, or there's no solution at all. Add your own commentary if you think I'm wrong in some way. Thank you.